Hi everyone, welcome to this live stream. We're going to model this bad boy in Studio. It's got these two rubber band cannons that you can fire with a gamepad, and whoops, there goes another one. And it's got a camera mount, which is entirely optional of course, but it makes for great fun. And there is an iron sight here which works really well for aiming. And of course it's got these aftermarket Omni wheels. They are not original Lego parts, but they make for great movement of this robot. So let's get to it and start modeling this one into Studio. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import a pallet, and I'm going to import the MINDSTORMS pallet. So I'm going to not to add pallet but to config, where I'm going to import an official Lego set, and I'm going to import the MINDSTORMS set, which has a lot of parts that are in this robot, and so they make it easy to find parts. Now we have a blank canvas here, and let's see if there is a motor in this set. No, this is a bit weird. I imported the MINDSTORMS set where there is no motor, so I'm going to have to go to the master palette, search for EV3, and search for this motor. It's the medium motor, and actually the connections are on top. So let's insert it like this. There we have it. It looks about right. It's got this white backside because the color is white up there. And I'll get the model into view. So these shortcuts are just for switching scenes. The first thing we're going to model is this bracket here where the rotocaster wheel is inserted, and we're going to start here from the side and try to build up in steps like you would see the final building instructions. So while modeling it, I try to think of steps right away to make the page layout later on easier. So let's so we've got the motor. Now let's insert some pins here. Oh, we're in the master palette. Let's go down to the newly imported EV3 palette and find this pin. Okay, let's add 4 pins. So I try to make every step here have one big part and then some pins, and then it's time to add another step. So I'm pressing Command T, I'm working on a Mac here, or it's Control T on a Windows machine, and now I can add more beams. So let's add a lift arm. Beams are called lift arms in Studio. Let's add a lift arm here, and MINDSTORMS has them black, but in this model here, you can see it in the bottom right, everything is actually dark bluish gray. So let's make it dark bluish gray, and then so again do the same order, first the arm and then some pins. So let's clone this pin here, and let's add a big 3 long pin. So I'm typing pin 3 here and adding it. Of course, for anyone watching, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, just type them in the live chat. I will respond to it right away. It would be nice to make this live stream a little interactive. So welcome to any new viewers that just have started watching. I'm already 2 steps into the building instruction here, and I'm going to add another step, and I'm going to insert a 3 long lift arm like this. It's connected. Oh, I made a mistake. This pin should have been down here. I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So let's make this one light bluish gray too. So as you start adding parts, this becomes a really nice pallet. So we added an arm, then it's time excuse me, for some pins, and after adding pins I'm going to press Command T for a new step. Now I'm going to add this angled arm. It's a 3 times 5, 3, 5. Yes, that's the one I'm looking for. Turn it, rotate it. Okay, it's fine now. And it's not the right color, so let's make it dark bluish gray. And let's add the pins here. And time for another step. Clone this one and add a pin. And another step and add a pin. So the next thing we're going to do is add the axle for the motor. So we're going to look for an axle of length 6. There we go. Then we need a bush. It pays to memorize the names of the parts a little bit, so you can get to the parts real quick. Then that's about enough for a step, so let's add another step and find a wheel. Now in reality, of course, I'll switch over to my model. In reality, of course, we don't have MINDSTORMS wheels, but these rotocasters or omni wheels. So I'm going to input weirdly colored MINDSTORMS wheels just to remind us that we need these in reality. Okay, so that's a wheel, and let's give it some crazy color. Let's make it bright pink. And add a tire here. Okay, let's make that one bright pink too, so we know we have to replace them. Then it's time for more blue pins. So, we're going to build the bracket all around the tire, and we're going to use a lift arm like this and a pin connector. The nice thing about importing sets as a pallet is that you have the parts in the right color directly, because if I'm looking for a pin connector, for instance here in the master, I will find a lot more hits and they'll all be white. So if I'm taking them out of a set, then I'm sure that they're in the official Lego colors. And then here is a trick. So this is the bright red that I'm using for the bracket. So I'm just putting in a part here to make sure that this content color shows up, and then I'm going to color my lift arm, which is red on the real model. Color it red. And then I'm going to delete this again. I've forgotten to it's okay. Yeah, this is it's probably a little big for one step, so let's switch that over to another step, and voila. So this this is about right for 1/3 of the robot now. Next it's time to add some beams. I think they are 9 long beams here. Yeah, and I have connected the beams with these pins. Let me find them. In the real model it allowed me to mount it, to assemble the whole thing together, and this looks a bit weird, but it'll make sense later when I slightly change the order to make it all buildable. So next I need an arm. It's a 9 long arm, that's about here. And finally we're going to, oh no, not yet. Now we need 2 L-shaped pieces. Let me see how they are connected. Okay, there is 1 space. This one is probably a little too early, so I'm going to remove it for now. And I think I'll remove these again too and add them later so they show up in the right steps. Let's find it. Oh no, we don't need a pin, we can just clone. I'm pressing the C key here, so the C for the clone tool, and I can clone these pins. Oh, I want this one, light blue is gray too, by the way. And then I want another L beam, so I'm going to press C for clone again. Oh, let's rearrange them first. Cool. Now we can clone this safely, like that. And the rhythm is beam, pin, pin. So let's add some pins here. Pin, pin. Is that right? Was that my construction? No, it's actually wrong. They're the wrong kind of pins. I need the pins in the style. Let me see, do I have another set where they are included? Yeah, they are these kind of pins that should go in there. Let's add this one, and let's add it like this. Now let's go back to our MINDSTORMS set, and yes, that's the one I'm looking for. Here, this red one is exactly the right connector. And now I've made a step again. I was too enthusiastic with too many pins here. What I'm going to do is something different. So let's make this into a... we will never be able to assemble this. We're going to do it differently. From here on, we're going to add blue pins. Okay. And then a pulley, I think it's called. pulley? Yes, that's the one. So it's a pulley. And there are actually two of them on top of each other. And we're going to clone this. Now make this into a little submodel first. Yes, so the user of the building instruction will be prompted to assemble these two parts first, and now we're going to clone it and turn it around and connect it to the model like this. I think we have made some alignment mistakes. Oh no, it's okay. This one, it could be a little down, so I'm pressing the T key here where I get this transform tool. And I see that my grid is pretty coarse, so I'm going to use a finer grid to put these into place. It's still too rough. An even finer grid. Yes, that's where I want them. Okay. Pulley. And let's add some more blue pins, because we actually need 6 of them all around, because the nice thing of these pulleys is that the holes are spaced in 120 degrees or 60 degrees per hole, and this is a nice basis for our rotocaster. Hi Connor, nice to see that you joined, and hi Joshua, thanks for joining. So I think it's about time for a new step. And so we have these pulleys with 6 pins in them. They make for one fine step, and then we're going to add these things, these little submodels, and I'm going to add actually, I'm going to add the both of them in one step, make another step, add 2 more, see if I can align this. Now I'm pressing the R key for rotate, and I'm going to rotate it to a whole number. So yeah, I think it's about right. And I'm going to make another step and then clone these again. Oh, it lost its 60-degree angle. Let's maybe clone this one. Try and flip it around. No, it doesn't want to flip in exactly the right way. So I'm going to use this one as a clone source. Yes. And rotate it in place. $60 degrees, that should be about right. Okay, so these are all set, and then we can continue this one, this L beam. Let's add another one, and now we're back into the rhythm of beam, connector, and then new step. this one. Okay. And I now discover that I forgot to combine our first assembly here into a submodel. So I'm going to select it, make sure that these beams aren't part of the selection. Yeah, so this is the first part. It's a repeatable part, so I'm going to create that into a submodel, and I'm going to call it motor assembly. Okay, and actually about now is the point where I'm going to add this assembly, so I'm going to rearrange it right away. We'll end up with an empty step at the beginning, but that's fine. And actually we can make these into a submodel too and clone them all around. That will really shorten the building instructions. So let's create them into a submodel. I don't usually name all my submodels, and let's create this one into a submodel too. Okay, so then after building this, I can start building that, and we're just going to clone it. Let's see, where is, okay. We're going to clone this one first. So in this situation, it automatically aligns nicely. So, and if you clone 3 identical sub-assemblies in one step, in the building instructions, I can actually show that in the building instructions. It will instruct you to make this submodel thrice. So let's do the other one first, and then I'll switch over to building instructions real quick. Okay. Now let's show you. I'll show you what happened here. So here we are instructed to build this assembly thrice and then add it to our central hub, and then we'll be instructed to create this assembly thrice and add that to the central hub. So this really simplifies the building instructions. Now is a good time to add the motors. So this one, let's, oh, I could have just dragged the step including the model to the end. So, and in this step, let's remove step 9 for now. Now I need these 3 long pins to connect to actually connect the motor. And let's do that again. And I can just while building the model, I can do the pins first and then the motor. In the building instructions, it won't matter because it's all inside the same step. So the user then has to figure out the best way to add these parts. Okay, so now we already have about 2/3 of the Omni robot. I'm pressing to drag it around. I'm pressing shift and dragging here. And the last one is going to be, the third motor is going to be a little different. It's going to be assembled with these pins. Oh, I think actually for ease of use, because these both are angled and I won't be building much on top of them anymore. So I'm actually going to move this motor over here, and it'll save me a lot of trouble later on. When I add the EV3 brick, it will be originally aligned to the floor here, to the grid. So I'm going to move this motor over there, so it will be easier to add the EV3 brain later. Oops, I cloned it. I shouldn't have. Should have just moved it. Okay. So that's a fine step. Now the last motor, and the last motor I'm going to put it in a new step because I'm going to assemble it with the blue pins, because I'm going to add some fortification construction on top of it. So here goes the third motor. Oh. Just trying to snap it in place. Okay, it snapped. Cool. Now this is already, let's have a look at the model. So now we have the bottom side of the model more or less, and now it's time to build the brick here on top. Okay. I remember when I designed this model that I built the brick with this kind of axle, because it has the ability to, so you can just push it in all the way, and then the round bit will stop it like this. And how did I connect it then? Oh, it should actually be in another step, and it should stick one out, I think. Oh yeah, should stick one out like this. Yes. Okay, and let's look at the model. How did I ever connect this at the bottom here? I guess I'm going to disassemble all of it just a little bit. I put 2 5 long beams in there and a piece. Okay, that's a weird construction, but well, let's stick with it. It works. I'm not sure if you saw it. So this is what's happening underneath. It's a bit dark. Oh, now I broke it apart completely. This is what we're going to build. Oops. Let's switch back to Studio. Now, the part we're looking for is, I think it's something with X and pin in the name. Yeah, that's the one. and I'm going to put it here. Now, because I used an axle here, the alignment is a little tricky. I want everything to be in the right height. Yeah, you can see already that these aren't very well aligned. But I think it will work out, more or less. Yeah, I think it's precise enough for the building instructions. So let's make it light bluish gray and put it in a new step. Add some blue pins. Now we're back into the rhythm of beam, pins, pins. So we're going to add a 5 long lift arm. And next we have to add the frame. So let's add this and that. Okay. Yeah, we could actually have added another pin here. Maybe it'll make the construction a little stronger. Yeah. There is a pin with the hole in the middle. Let's add this one. Okay. And then, oops, I shouldn't have made a new step. I first need the frame. So now we have a frame connected with 4 pins here. On top of the frame, did I align it right? Yeah, I aligned it right. On top of the frame, we're going to add black pins. These black pins. Oh, wrong key. C key for clone. Ah, I cloned the whole sub-assembly. I'm going to add a pin anyway, because my pins are now sunk in sub-assemblies. I can't clone them very easily anymore. Let's get it from the pallet again, orient it. Okay, new step. And we're going to add a 13 long lift arm, actually 2 of them. That's about the middle. I like these to be light bluish gray. Of course, if you're building this model, the color won't matter much. Hi to everyone who just joined in. Thanks for watching. Okay, we're in the rhythm of beam, beam, pin, pin. So we did 2 beams. It's time to add some pins. And I think we can add the EV3 brain now. So let's pick it from the master palette, type EV3, and add the brain. Voila. Oh, it's probably better to add it in a new step. Now we'll add some pins to the brain too. Let's just add some black ones. Let's go back here. find some pins. Come on, go in there already. Yes, there you go. So we're part pin, pin, pin again. Add another step and have these, going to add these red pin connectors. Okay, and then I'm going to add the big L-shaped beams. So arm, I think they're 11 by 5. These guys, yes. Oh, rotate it. There we go. They exactly fit in here. That's why I chose them originally. I only have to make them in the dark bluish gray. And finally I have to insert these little axes here. Okay, so now the brain is connected a bit better to the base. Let's see what the other side does. So let's switch over to model view. Here I did something to connect it to the base that seemed to align, but I needed a half step there, and it's 10 units apart. So we're going to insert these parts, these gray parts first, then build the rest on top of it, and finally use the red axles here to assemble everything, I think. Or maybe, oh no, we can use these parts to assemble it all and just add them for now. Okay, there we go. I think, yeah, I imported more sets. I import almost all sets I have, and I seem to have a bit of a memory as to which bricks are in which sets. So this is for me much easier than just searching the master palette. And let me see if I can find this. Yes, that's the one. So I remembered that it was in the forest machine set, and this, so I could find it really quickly. Okay, I should have put them into a new step. So let's drag them around to the next step. It's good to see that you're so enthusiastic, Connor. So it'd be awesome to see your movie when you've built this. So welcome to any new viewers, and just let me know if you have any questions. You can type them in the chat and I'll try to answer them. Then we need an arm. Oh, let's make a new step. We need a lift arm of length, I think it was 11. Yeah, I guessed it right. So that's funny that this is triangle that somehow fits mathematically. And then we need some black pins again. So I'm going to steal a black pin here from the back side, or steal it, clone it. Okay. Let's go back to our MINDSTORMS base kit, and we need something that connects axles and pins, and with a half step. That's the one we need. We need 2 of them. Okay. And what else? Yeah. They will have to be built with sub-assemblies. So what I'm going to do now is insert axis here. And of course, in reality, you won't be able to do it, but for the building instructions, it will be just fine. Next, we need a part like that. I actually wasted some time doing this. I could just have cloned it. Let's align it a bit better. I think, yeah. So there are some view shortcuts. Yeah, that's the one I guessed right. So here I can see if drag it around with shift, everything's aligned. It seems to be well aligned. Maybe this axle could move a little notch in there. Yeah, now everything is fine. So this is a great submodel now, and I'm going to make it into a submodel and clone it. Okay, and then I'm going to put them into their proper steps. Okay, let me see what kind of pins I put in there. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to put the black ones in right away. Okay. And then here I have these very interesting submodel to build that I'm going to snap in afterward. It's built with a pin axle. Yes. And a black one. And a half beam. Are there any thin beams? Yes, exactly what I need. They are just in a MINDSTORMS set. 2 thin beams. And an axle. Okay, add a step. The fun thing is I can make this part in with separate steps here, and when I make it into a submodel, it will retain the steps, so that'll save me some time too. I'm going to, is it, yeah, this one, that's the one I need. Voila. Beam and clone the black one. Okay. Now all of this I can select it here on the side. Oh, I think for you this model view is on top of it, but I'm selecting all of the parts that I just built here in the sidebar, and I'm going to create that into a submodel. And so in the instructions, the user will be instructed to build that first and then stick it in from the side. Okay. I think we're about ready to start with the superstructure now. And maybe it's okay to start building the superstructure from this side. So what we'll do here is add the L-shaped beam. No. Let's clone a pin from here. And the other pin. Okay. And some 3 long pins. And maybe I can clone them from here. Yes, I can. These are the ones I need, so let's clone them. Try and rotate them until they are in the right direction. That's what I want. And then we need, oops, my Mac is going into night shift. Let's disable that. I'm going to need this pin connector that is angled. I'm not going to find it like this. Can just scroll. Oh, apparently it's not in the MINDSTORMS set where I supposed it was, so let's try and find it from the master palette. Pin connector, where are you? So it's this pin, but then angled. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one we need. And we want everything to be light bluish gray. Voila. And then this one is going to be another submodel. A nameless submodel. Oops. I selected too much. These shouldn't be into the submodel. Okay. Another nameless submodel. There is an empty step here. Going to delete it. Then, so this is part 1 of the superstructure. I think the next one is a 13 long beam. So let's select light bluish gray here, because we're going to use a lot of light bluish gray. No, that's not the one. It's an 11. There we go. And let's seal this up with a 5 long beam. Voila. Now this is a bit much for one step, so let's make all of that into new steps. Okay, and this one can have another one like this. So we can go in there, copy it, go back to the upper model, paste it, insert it, and it should go with the lift arm here. Okay. Now the other side is, I think we're going to add 9 long beams. So let's find beams with a 9 length. Okay, and Okay. Jacob is... You can't have the EV3 brick in the program. The EV3 brick is, to your question, it's in the master palette. So if you go to the master palette here and you type EV3, then you will find the brick. It's just in there in the latest version of Studio. But anyways, we were adding lift arms here, and I think in the same step it will be okay to add these 4 parts one step. I think the average builder can do that. Oops, they shouldn't be there, they should be here, right at the end. Okay, new step. Then we need a 9 long arm, if I counted well. Yes, perfect. And we need an almost mirror image of this one. What we can do is copy and mirror it. It will give us this, and the pin connector here is surplus, so I can just delete it here, and I'm still getting this subassembly, which is perfectly fine to put in there. Okay, we're making way with our superstructure here. I think right now it's time to add the big motor, so let's insert the pins to do that. Can clone them from here on the side again. Press the C key for clone. Okay, new step, going to the master palette and select white, and find EV3 again, and then we can scroll down until we find the motor. That's the one. Okay, High Pro Skills, welcome to you. Ouch, this one doesn't align. Let's see if we can zoom in and make it align. Yes, now it snaps. Sometimes it's weird and you have to zoom in and change your view a bit until it snaps. But here we are, ready to build the cannon. Let's first fix the cannon here to the frame. Let me see, how did I do that? I think I used a 7 long axle and a 15 long beam. Okay. Back to our MINDSTORMS palette. I'll just insert it horizontally and then rotate it. So I'll switch over to the model. As you can see, right now I'm building this part. So I'm going to start with the axle inside here and this beam, and then I'm going to add these parts because they are connected to the red ones, and I need the axle first. There we go. So I'm just going to rotate it out of the way a little bit for now. Axle arm, new step. Pin X, so that's the one. These are the ones I need. Rotate them. A bit of a precision alignment. I wish the grid was more helpful here, but somehow for MINDSTORMS model it doesn't really work. Then we need some black pins. Let's clone one from down here again. New step. I think I used 5. Okay. This is actually, I will make it into a submodel again, so I will build it only on one side and then clone the whole thing. So let's make more pins. I need a blue pin, a long one, to go in here, and then I need another arm. And in my design I use the red one. You can of course use any color, I just like red here. And then I can clone all of this. Clone all of this and first create it into a submodel and then clone it, and voila. Now the motor is connected to the base. What else are we going to do here? We're going to yeah, I think I'm going to start here on the back for the gun assembly. So let's switch over to the model again. So I think the next thing to do is build this thing on the back, and then when I've built it out wide enough, I can connect these half beams and the rest of the superstructure. Let's see, where do I start? I really forgot how I built this, so I'm going to take it apart. Yeah, that's about far enough to see what I did. Okay. New step. Let's find a blue pin to start. Okay. Next is a beam. A lift arm. That is a lift arm, and this lift arm, this lift arm should have been in the next step, and I decided to take a gray lift arm there. Like this. Okay. And I'm going to make a new step, and then at this beam, however, so 2 holes. Can I have 2 holes, please? Oh, this is, so I want 2 holes to be open behind the pin. This is really annoying. 1, 2 holes. Okay. And I built all of this in light bluish gray. Good. So now I'm going to have to connect this beam to that beam, and I should have probably made a sub-assembly here. So we can do that still. by adding these blue ones. Three long lift arms. Now, I should have made this sub-assembly before rotating it out of place, so this is a bit silly. Maybe I can rotate it back, by the way. Let's see. Yeah, that's cool. I can also type in a number, 270, and it'll be perfect horizontal, and it'll be a lot easier to add these three long beams. Let's move it out of this side, okay, and then should they be blue pins? Yes, they should be blue pins. Okay, now this is going to be another submodel. Nice, it all flips back to step 8, which is cool. And now our challenge will be to connect these beams in space, and that's really tough. So I think the real model is up quite steep like that, and then let's try and rotate this one until it connects. No, I think I guessed pretty well. If this one rotates down just a teeny bit. Ah, yeah, too late. I think it'll be okay for the building instructions. It's close enough to the real thing. The next thing to do is, I guess, add pins. Yeah, let's add some pins. Let's add some blue pins here. And a black pin. A blue pin first. Well, actually, I'm thinking it'll be a lot easier if I make the superstructure without rotating the whole thing first. I'm going to save the rotation step for the very last. So I'm going to undo it. Yes. Remove this one. I'm going to take a fresh lift arm without any rotations. Snap it in place and do the rotation of the beams at the very last moment. Will save me a lot of trouble building. Okay, let's make it bluish gray. Add the pins. And the blue one. Okay, time for a new step. I made it light gray. I don't remember why, but I did. And what else? I think let's make a new step, add some more blue pins here. What is a good thing to do next? Let me think. We'll be adding beams over there. So new step. They are 9 long beams. So let's do one at a time. And okay, in my model they are dark bluish gray, and then the second part I'm thinking of making this into a submodel. That would save me some time. Let me see if I can do that. I'll wait just a little longer, I think. Nah, I'll just do it the hard way. No submodels for this one. So let's add more pins here where they are. New step. Clone this one. And then we need an axle, 5 long. I went too fast again. Let's not add this one until later. We need another one like that. So let's go in there, edit all, we don't want to unlink them, copy it, go back to the superstructure and paste it. Okay, it's in there, and here there is some more magic. Not the axle. Let's create it into a submodel and copy and mirror. Oops. Create into submodel, copy and mirror. Yes, that's what we need. Snap it into place. Cool. What's next? I think it's another beam. There. Oops, I should have made a new step. And another pin. And another one of these 5 long arms to connect it all. Is that right? That is right. And here I'm missing some parts. They're actually down here. Can I still clone it? No, I should go into that model, copy it. So it's the axle with pin. Yes, that's the one that should have gone in there. And then I need a bush. Come on. Yes. And I need a thin lift arm of 6 long. Thin arm 6. There we are. Okay. I'm wondering why it doesn't align. So let's zoom in and take a look here. And this one is probably a bit too far out. Okay. And I only have black ones, so let's make it black. Rotate it into place. There we go. And now we're going to make all of that into another submodel, because that's the only way you can assemble this. And then in the last step we're going to add another bush from our MINDSTORMS kit. There we go. We're almost done with one side. I'm going to build the other side of the rotated, of the gun structure here. So let me switch over to the model. So right now we just finished doing this, and now I'm going to build all of that. Oh, I forgot the rubber band holder. I should have added it. We can go back and add it. And when I've added everything on top here, I'm just going to rotate everything up and add the trigger mechanism. Okay. Let's switch back to Studio. Good. Let's press the no. First we're going to add the red rubber band trigger part of the trigger. So I'm going to add a 4 long axle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it like that in the model? Yes, it's in the 5th hole. Okay. Add a bush. Add a lift arm, 5 long. Press the T key to move it into place. And press the C key to clone the bush. Okay. The steps will be ordered wrong, but we'll fix that later. Yeah, I think right now we can go on to the other side. So let's make a new step and clone everything to this side. Oh, accidentally. Okay. No, that was not the right thing to do. First, we need to build the camera holder. So I'm going to clone this. Copy that part, paste it here. I like to have this one in gray. Clone it. And now we're ready to add the big beam here. So make a new step. Boom, there we go. Add the, oops. It's probably easier if we make this into a submodel, both for me and for the user. So let's make that into a submodel. And then we'll delete this one again. Mirror that submodel. Okay, saved a lot of time there. That one should have been in the submodel. Let's put it in there. Okay. Let me think, what's next? Oh yeah, the gray L-beam. So, new step. More blue pins. I should have made a new step. Again here. Come on, it doesn't snap. Yes, there we are. New step. Clone our 3 long beam. So this half of the model goes much faster. Add a, oops, not this one. Add a blue pin. And, oh yeah. New step. Build up this part again. No, too fast. We should have made the X pin connector first here to build our iron sides. Okay. There we are. I like to have this one in gray, and I want another X like this. No, just not clone it. I need to copy it, then leave the submodel and then paste it in the supermodel. Yeah, that should have been a new step, I guess. Now we're going to use both a gray bush and a yellow bush, and the gray bush will fix it in place and the yellow bush will be our sides. Okay, and then we can add a new step, add in a 5 long axle. Make a new step, and now it's time to build up this side. Oops, no, not yet. I should have copied this one first. This one can actually go together with the axle. Finally, this beam. Was that a black one? Yeah. Let's move this one back slightly. Add the black pin that should have been there. Okay, and the black pin should be in the previous step. Cool. Now some blue pins. Another 9 long beam. Oh, I forgot to make a new step. So let's drag it into a new step. A black pin is a good thing to insert there. And then we can go for a new step and a clone of that part. Yeah, it should snap. I wish it would snap better. Ah, I guess my black pin wasn't positioned right. Okay. Yes. There we go. And then finally, I think we will copy, clone this here. There we go. And now we have a problem again. Let's solve it later. X 6. Let's first input this camera axle. Now we have the problem that these things here can't rotate them anymore because they're in a submodel and I need to rotate them. What I'm going to do is save my model. I hadn't saved it ever. That's pretty risky. And see if we can release it and release that one, and then see if we can rotate it. Nope. Nope. Awesome. The whole thing moves. Okay. How far up should it move? It's about this far. Okay, now let's rotate this one. This sucks. Let's take a side view first. Not this kind of side view, that kind of side view. Now where did it go? Oh yeah, it went into the backmost blue. Oh, we went up too high. Yeah, I think it will end up there. Let's rotate this one again. Ouch, this is coarse. From 101 to 100. Okay, now it's a little less coarse. 104. Let's see if 104 is right for us. Yes, perfect. This is where it should be. Okay, and then I see another mistake here. I wonder what happened. This one should have been there. Okay, okay. Looking good. It's already starting to look like the virtual reality robot that we wanted to build. So let's compare it to the model for a bit. So it's looking pretty much like it. So now we need to make these this part of the trigger and the camera cradle, and then we'll be done. So the last bits, and we've been modeling for about an hour and a half now, which I think is a fine amount of time. Good. Oh yeah, I prefer these to be red. What's next? Oh yeah, a little bush here would be nice. And the camera cradle. new step. Was it the number 4 that I used? I used the number 3. They aren't in the MINDSTORMS set. Axle pin connector angled number 3. That's what we need from the master pallets. Let's make it light bluish gray. X pin angled number 3. That's what we need. And now we kind of go back to MINDSTORMS, because we need a too long axle. Okay. And then, I don't know the name of this part. What's it called? Axle connector with axle hole. Well, whatever. Oh, I should have put this one into a new step. And edit all, copy, paste it here, and it's a gray one, and all of that should have been into a new step. Yes. Nope. This one should go out. These two should be in the same step. Yes. 2 blue pins. Ah, they're angled, so that's not so very practical. Let's clone them from somewhere else. Let's clone them from here. Okay. And let's add some pins. Yeah, now I'm just gonna clone a straight one again. Okay, there we go. Come on, snap to it. There you are. Good boy. This one has to be gray, and I prefer these to be red. Now let's make more pins in there. Copy of this one. Okay. Almost there, and then from the master palette we need a pin. Is there a half pin? Pin with a stud. Oh, what's it called? Yes, Okay, and then finally we need a tile. I think it's called 2x2. And a 2x2 tile. That finishes our camera cradle. Oh. Okay. Hey. What's this part doing there? It's accidental. It's an accidental clone. So that's the camera cradle, and finally it's time for the last part of the trigger mechanism. And the trigger mechanism is actually built around a 12 long axle. An 11 will work too, by the way. Oh, let's put in an 11 for the building instructions. It's the support to try and get it into the motor axle hole. There we are. Translate it into place. Let's see. Is it about in the middle? Nope. Now it's in the middle. Okay. We're going to add some bushes next. EV3 bushes are fine. And then I can see I made an alignment mistake, because it should actually be a bit higher. Now I can see that this crosses through the beam, which it doesn't in reality. So what we'll do is take this one out for a bit. Let's see if we can still rotate this. Yes, we can. See if we can rotate this one now. Yes, we're lucky. And it should go about there. It should still go higher. Let's rotate it even slightly higher. This looks good. Fine. Okay. Now let's finish the trigger mechanism now with another step, and in the master palette it's a thin 3x3. Does it exist? It exists. That's awesome. And now this is getting confusing, so I'm going to hide it and hide this. Okay, so I can build this quietly. Yes. Next we need some of these small axles. Can I clone it? Yes, I can. Okay, and then we need this lift arm with an axle hole in it. This one. That wasn't quite right. Okay. And they should have also been into the next step. Okay. New step again. Finish it up with a clone of that one. There we are. These aren't right. Okay. This one is out too far too. And we'll also add some bushes. New step. These should be gray bushes. There we are. And yeah, this is going to be our rotating trigger. Oh, let's delete this step. Where did we start? Bush, there. That's where we started. So I'm going to make this into a submodel for later. For now, I'm just going to clone it right away. It'll be more user-friendly. Okay. And then finally 2 more bushes. Show our hidden items again. Okay, I think that's it. I think we finished building the model. Now it's completely into Studio. Let's rearrange some steps here. So now you can compare it to the real model here, and let's save it and go over to our page design. I'm not going to do the whole page design here on this live stream because this work is really tedious. I'm just going to show you some steps of how I work. Let's first, you can easily switch between page design and step editor here. So I'm going to delete this empty step, go over back to page design, And here we go. That's a nice first step. Build 2 of these, add them, build 2 more of these, add them, build 2 more of these, add them. So this seems reasonably easy to follow. So, and this happens, the page design is generated quite easily if you pay attention while constructing the model in the modeling part, to make some reasonable steps. Okay, there we are. This makes sense. This makes all perfect sense. We're building 2 motors. This is still making perfect sense. And I'm lucky I don't have to change rotations very much. So yeah, I could drag this from down under. Okay. Yeah, this still seems fine. So add 8 of these pins, connect the motors, make a new motor. So this is looking real good. All because we paid a lot of attention in the first part to make logical steps and to put everything into the right order. There we go. This is, oh yeah, no, this is a little harder to follow. What I could do is zoom in there a bit. Now we can zoom out again. What's cool is that all of this, we've been able to build all of this without ever changing the view rotation, because view rotations are always hard for people using, I'm going to scale this down for people using building instructions. So, oh wow, still no view rotation. So that's really awesome. Let's put that over there. 2 of these lift arms. I guess we should add these lift arms first, because you won't be able to snap them in place when the red parts are there. So let's go to the step editor and switch around these steps. Go back to page design. Yeah, so first these arms, then these. This makes a lot more sense. The little red axles, you can't see them. So what we can do here is activate buffer exchange. And yeah, somehow these arrows don't work. So when you activate the buffer exchange, you have to type them in manually. I'm guessing it's going to be Z. No, I guessed wrong. So you have to guess that too. Why then? Nope. So it's X. X 0, 0. It was minus 100 anyway. It's easier to put it in there from the outside. And let's activate the buffer exchange here. Okay. It's a weird name, activate buffer exchange, but it means temporarily taking out parts. I'll be stopping the live stream in 10 minutes. I've been streaming for 2 hours now, which is quite a long time. I think you will be able to finish the building instructions on your own. This is the first time that we need a rotation, so what we're going to do here is put a flip icon and then flip the model, rotate, boom, and there we are. is still looking good. Some overlap here. Yeah, this is quite a lot for one step, but I think people will be able to figure this out, and so on and so on. Okay, I think this this concludes my tutorial video and my live stream about making building instructions for this VR camera streaming robot with Omni wheels. I hope you learned a thing or two about making building instructions, and maybe you'll make a copy of this robot, and I hope you'll share a lot of building instructions to other people online. So it's been a pleasure, and hope to see you again on a next live stream. So my name is Anton from Anton's Mindstorms. Please subscribe to my channel, and there is I also have a website called antonsmindstorms.com where you can go and download building instructions, and I also publish articles on how to program this kind of robot, so you can also remote control it with a PS4 controller. Okay, nice to see you. Bye bye.